Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and welcome to my behind the scenes look at the new cover I just uploaded for the new Pokemon game that just came out. So I just thought it'd just be a fun one to do a little behind the scenes look at and just kind of discuss some of my thoughts about doing it and everything. So my good friend Caitlin on YouTube has gone through and been playing through the game on stream, which has been pretty fun. So it's been fun for me to kind of watch through and experience the game for the first time. And kind of through that, I've also been able to get inspired by some of the game's score. So one of the early game tracks, this is like part 4 of her streaming it. She streamed it all during the first day it came out. But one of the early tracks on there, I noticed it had a really cool piano line and some violin and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm totally going to do a cover of this game. Because it's such a cool track and I thought it'd be a lot of fun. I'm not the biggest Pokemon fan in the world, that's why I don't actually have any gameplay of it here for myself, but I also thought that would be a perfect way to celebrate the game and celebrate Pokemon a little bit more, because I did a piano medley of it on the channel as well, so if you want to check that out too. But yeah, so I don't want to show too much of the score here just for copyright reasons and everything. I'd love to dole this thing out for people to perform and stuff, but obviously this is copyrighted music and all that. We don't need to get into all that right now. So the original track had piano and violin in it as computerized instruments, all of it was. And then the melodica part I subbed in for the winds. I can't remember what it was, like flute or something. I can't remember now what the actual instrument was, but it just happened to just work out in this way. It was just kind of this nice little trio that I was able to just, and I have these instruments right here, so it's like this being easy cover, just bada bing bada boom put together. So usually for a cover where I have a whole bunch of extra instruments, I would have the computer play those on another software. So I would export the file as a MIDI file. This one I'm actually going to do that for the sake of having a metronome marking. So that way the whole thing can be at the same tempo. Okay, so here's a look at Logic, my sort of digital audio workstation that I work with. And for now I'm going to say software instrument. Obviously these will all be turned into the actual instruments. And now I'm going to drag the file, the MIDI file that I made, into here. And Logic will kind of very conveniently put the instruments I need in the place. If I have it show the tempo track, I can then move this down to the tempo that I want. I'm not sure if 80 is actually the right tempo, so let me listen to the original and kind of figure out what that tempo is. So we basically nailed it. 76 is pretty darn close to 80, so I don't remember if I'd done that before or set it up already, but I think we're pretty good. So from there, I set it up to the tempo I want it, and obviously for this track, I don't need to do anything else with the MIDI instruments. These are just for my guide for while I'm actually playing it. So now it's time to go and get my real life instruments. Alright, so I set up my camera angle here, and starting with violin, obviously. This is a weird arrangement in that there's only a little bit of violin at the end, a little bit of melodica in the beginning, and then the rest of it's just piano. So I've decided to save piano for last, do the other two instruments first, and then we'll focus on the big guy after. Alright, I just listened back to the violin part and I'm quite happy with how that turned out. This part was a whole lot about just making sure the sound was what I wanted it to sound like. Kind of chocolatey, velvety kind of sound that just kind of went through the whole thing, very dolce kind of thing. And so I'm happy with this. Now let's try the melodica part. So the one thing I've noticed is this melodica part is not very difficult at all in terms of the notes. But I'm not a wind player. I never grew up playing any band instruments or wind instruments at all. So I don't have the kind of breast support that they might have, or like singers might have, and there are some long slurs in this piece. So we'll just have to see how this goes. Let me just show you one example and see how I can do. Already I'm like running out of breath there. So I just need to make sure I hold it a little bit longer and I'm able to kind of slow the breath down. And try to play through this calm as possible. It's a calm piece. It's just like a little town, quaint town, not an action piece or anything like that. I always forget about that one. It's like as a violinist, I'd write "save my bow." I gotta write "save my breath." Here's a quick look at that part that I was talking about with the crazy breath that I had. Any wind players in the comments if you have any tips for me? I know melodica playing can be very similar, and it is similar to wind playing, so yeah, just let me know. Whew. Okay, I think I got something I'm happy with, so now I think I'll have a short break and then I'll move on to some piano stuff, and yeah, I gotta move all my setup, but that's okay, we'll make do. Here we go. Okay, so it's a little bit later in the day. I just finished recording everything. As you can see here, I have a whole bunch of tracks that I was working with, and that's just because I spent a lot of, I kind of record a track and then I sometimes duplicate it to try to do a different version of it, and then I often kind of splice things together to make the perfect kind of take, so it's a little bit cheaty, but you know, I think it helps to create a better cover rather than just me having to do one beginning to end as I would have to do at a live performance, but you kind of have to roll with what you get. So yeah, so now kind of my next thing here is to just kind of mix all this together, make sure it's all cohesive and smooth, especially the piano part. That's kind of the main part that has to be really, really clean and together and sound like it's all one part. And then we can get to video editing. So I'll work on this around dinner and yeah, see how it goes. So I'm just here editing the video. This is just kind of, I use Final Cut Pro to kind of edit my videos. And yeah, it's pretty simple one. The format I use is very simple. Sometimes I'd like to have fun little borders and different kind of formats for like if I have multiple parts, but for this one I just kind of had the piano overlay on the bottom and then the two instrument parts kind of you can see kind of floating as windows. I put in some fun little gameplay of some of the Pokemon, and I like to put in the name of the piece and the logo on the side of each of the screens as well. Just to kind of help keep things organized, and yeah, I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed listening to the cover. Thank you so much for all your support for that, and yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there. So thanks for watching and listening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.